Hello, welcome to episode 24. 24! Christ, of Dick Moby, in which I, an idiot, read to you, a lunatic, the great American novel of 1851, Herman Melville's Moby Dick, backwards, word for word, chapter for chapter, from end to beginning, from now until the end of time. So far we've reached chapter 78, I think, it represents pretty good progress. Chapter 78. You thought I wasn't going to... 75. There we go, chapter 75. It's getting behind myself. Yeah, you thought I wasn't going to stick at it, didn't you? You thought I couldn't do this for a whole day and more of my life. But I am a new breed of idiot. The kind of idiot that you've never come across before. And as such, I will persist with this madness. But I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you to keep you sane during this difficult time. This time of coronavirus lockdown. This time of racial torment. And, hopefully positive things coming from that. Hopefully this is going to cheer everybody up. Except me. Everybody except me deserves to be cheered up. What I deserve is exactly what I get, which is a 24th hour of unreading this hogwash. I don't expect to be given anything for this. It'd be nice if you liked this video or subscribed on Twitch or whatever you like to do. There's buttons all around the screen, various places. You can click them, they light up, they all do different things. If you want to give any money to anything, I would normally say give it to the National Video Game Museum, which is the address down there somewhere on the screen. But this week there's been something else going on, which was, including myself, but I take no credit for this particularly, something like 700 game developers have contributed games to a bundle of games, varying quality games. Mine included in there I would describe as modest in quality. It is the original of a game called Thrunt, which is the game I'm currently working on the sequel for. I don't normally talk about this on this stream, but it seems relevant because I've contributed the original version of Thrunt along with loads and loads of other games. There's over 1,000 games in the bundle. You can get it from itch.io. It costs a minimum of $5 contribution, and the money is split 50-50 between two sort of, I can't remember which charities they are actually, but they're Black Lives Matter related charities in America to help with protesters who've been arrested to make bail and so on. So great cause to support. There's some fantastic games in there as well. Ignore my game, I don't care. But there's loads of good games in there. There's Night in the Woods in there, Overland is in there. What else? Super Hexagon, Switch and Shoot. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You're bound to find something you like, and if not, then spend an hour going through some of the crazy, sort of more experimental, less well-known things in there from independent creators like myself. You're bound to find something you enjoy, and for $5 for 1,000 games, including some games that are really very good, very polished, I can't recommend it highly enough. If you go on itch.io and search for the bundle for racial equality and justice, I think that's what it's called, but you'll find it no problem. It's a great cause and a great set of games, so go and give some money to that. $5 minimum. $10 really is, let's face it, that's the minimum, isn't it? That's the minimum that someone should give. $5 if you haven't got $10. But if you got $10, then especially with the exchange rate, you might as well give 15. Give $15. Let's round it up to 20. Give $20 and you get 1,000 games, some of which are shit, some of which are really good. Go for it. Enjoy it. Now then, that's the announcements. Let's get on with this, because this book ain't going to read itself. I wish it fucking would, but it won't. I'm going to have to do it. Years later, his in Spinoza uptaken have might who, Platonian whale sperm that. Now, we have a problem this week. As you know, or you might not know if you're new to this, on the big board behind me is the sperm count, which is how we keep track of how far we are through the book. There are 271 individual instances of the word sperm throughout Moby Dick. I counted them all. As we see each instance of the word sperm, I draw the sperm. I started out drawing them on the big board, but actually it's easier. What I do is I draw them on the sperm buffer here, and then at the end of the session I transfer them to the big board. But so many sperm have we discovered that my pen's running out. So we might be in trouble this week. We may have to somehow record the sperm by some other mechanism. Because I don't have a spare pen, I'm going to have to buy another the other one, whiteboard pen. But until that, until this completely runs out, we'll persevere. Anyway, there's the first sperm for the night is there. If we get overwhelmed with sperm, then I'll probably just keep a tally or something, because it becomes a pain to have so much sperm flying around. But I'm going to draw this first one by way of demonstration. Oh, the pen's actually is behaving a bit better now. Maybe it was because just earlier on I did the transfer from all the previous episode sperms. 14 sperms we found last time. I put those on there and the pen started giving out, which is... I nearly had to stop this. I nearly had to give up. But I'll press on because I'm a stoic. Whale sperm the stoic. That's what I am. Been have to take I whale right this. Death facing in resolution practical enormous, and of speak to seem head hold this not does. Jaw the embrace to firmly as so. Side vessels the against accident by pressed. Lip lower amazing that see. Expression heads other the mark but. Death to as indifferent speculative out of born placidity prairie like out of full be to brow broad his think I. Away faded now seem forehead thee and wrinkles longer the of some only. With dyed he same that is it. There whale sperm the of expression the catch you can. Already the sperm is mounting. Here we go, I'll do another one for you. I appreciate that sperm don't actually look like this, but who cares? Who cares what sperm really... You don't know what a whale sperm looks like. At least I hope you don't. Let's press on. Following in long very be not will other that... I've made a mistake here as well. The mistake I've made is I've put the webcam in front of the page that I'm reading from, and if I move the page that I'm reading from, I can't see the Twitch chat in case anyone goes in the Twitch chat. Very few people have ever gone in the Twitch chat for this, so I think I'm just going to move the page rather than wobble the webcam. You'd think after an entire day of doing this, 24 hours nearly, that I'd be somewhat more professional about this, but I think we're good. I think we're set up, aren't we? You can still see me, I can see the page. I think we're good to go. Where was I up to? Following in long very be not will other the see the in unrecorded sinks soon will 1-4 together lie yet they while heads hooded venerable these on now last your look. One only whale sperm the spout holes external too has whale right that again. Is he still going on about whale anatomy and whale sperm? I'm going to draw this another sperm. I'm already bored of drawing sperms tonight. I'm not in the mood for sperms. Tongue of anything scarcely and lip lower huge no bone of blinds those of any there are whale sperm. Oh my goodness. Right, just keep a track, right? Whale sperm the in nor whale sperm the like jaw lower out of mandible slender long no. I'm just going to do a tally. If it's going to be one of them nights, I'm just going to do a tally. There's 2 more sperm we've had. Lower the mandible, slightly long no. All at teeth ivory no. Sperm of good grief. Sperm of well. In fact, I'm going to have to put the sperm buffer on the other side so that it's more accessible to my right hand. I'm much better with my right hand when it comes to sperm. I'll keep the pen in my hand. There, whales rights. Where was I? Where was I? It's confusing me. Sperm of well. Great note is there. Whales right the in. Then up some too. Heads different entirely almost have whale right, the and whale sperm the that. With started I what of truth the scene plainly have must you this air. I'll tell you what, we're on for a record. There's the most sperm in an episode so far has been 17, and we're on 7 already. This could be the flood of sperm that we've been waiting for. Oil of amount that about you yield will it, is that 6 barreler at was it say should I glance passing at us before now tongue particular this deck on it hoisting in pieces in tear to at and tender and fat very is it, excuse me, mouth the of floor the two were it as glued is which tongue the turkey softest the of rug have we organ the to carpet afore pipes thousand it's upon gazing and organ Harlem great the of inside were you think not you would about ranged methodically so bone of colonnades these all seeing a fresh you around look mouth whales right the in standing and moment afore whiskers and blinds about all forget now but. Yeah, we've had covered a lot of material about whales anatomy so far in this backwards thing. Nothing's actually happened for the last 30 chapters or so. All we've had is a lengthy treatise on the anatomy of the whale. I do know what I'm in for. I have read this. That's the whole point. This was a terrible book. I read it when I was, I don't know how old, in my 20s or something, and I wish I could unread it. And so this is my attempt to do so. I'm hoping by doing so I will dumb myself down and have no further knowledge of whales or whaling. Bones same the overspread tent are being umbrella the protection for jaws same the underfly nowadays we do thoughtlessness like the with shower at in so even say may you as whale the of jaws the in though gaily about move dames ancient those as and fashion the all then being farthingale the glory its in was bone the that time Anne's queen in was it decline the on been long has demand the particular this in but contrivances stiffening other and busks their ladies the to furnish please you whatever or blinds whiskers fins bristles hogs same these knows one every as. I nearly read hogs bristles forwards there by accident. So excited was I to recognise a phrase at all in this nonsense. Countenance solemn otherwise his to expression. Oh, hang on, this is a footnote. Where's it a footnote from? It's a footnote from here. So we should read this. We did this last time. It's becoming confusing. We're going to read this bit, then we'll read this bit, then we'll read from here on. Okay? Mouth his of side, each on tongue his over arch which chop upper his of side, each on growing fins 50 and 100 too about are there. Language elegant following the uses hackloit in gentleman old third bristles hogs another countenance solemn otherwise confusing I know but now we're down here countenance solemn otherwise his to expression brigandish rather at impart tufts these sometimes jaw lower the of end outer the of part upper the on hairs white scattered few out of consisting moustache a rather or whisker of sort has really whale right the that us reminds this mouth whales the of inside whiskers now are here in case you're trying to follow along. I wouldn't advise it but in case we're here now. Mouth whales the of inside whiskers wondrous the them calls purchase in Voyager 1. Voyager 1. I didn't know they sent whales into space. What is this, Star Trek? Oh, don't get me started. Blinds these concerning fancies curious the most the prevailed have to seem there times old in. Reasonable seem will glance first at than whale right the to age greater far a grant must we it to yield we if rate any at probability analogical of savour the has it yet demonstrable from far is criterion this of certainty the though rings circular it's by oak and of age the as age creatures the calculate whalemen somewhere by ridges and hollows curves marks curious certain are there order natural there in stand they as bone of blinds central the in time feeding in Brit of seas the through goes he open mouthed when Fish small, the retains the intricacies whose in and water the strains whale right, the which through fibres hairy with fringed are bones these of edges the mention cursorily been elsewhere have which blinds Venetian those form bone crown or head the of part upper the from depending which side on 103 say whalebone of slats scimitar shaped vertical half wondrous those with us present hides sides hairy not hairy hide a hairy side sides hairy arched ribbed these while their ridgepole regular were there if as angle sharp pretty to runs and excuse me to runs and high feet 12 about his roof the went Jonah that road that this is Lord good wigwam Indian and of inside the be to this take should I Mackinaw I at word my upon mouth the into slide now we excuse me threshold slippery at over as lip this over gape to beach the caused earthquakes when coast Peruvian the down sailing was interval important and during mother the probably across foot at about his fisher the hair lipped be should whale unfortunate this that now pity greater more and oil of gallons 500 some you yield will that pout and sulk deep feet 5 and long feet 20 about measurement carpenters by pout and sulk there is pout and sulk huge what lip lower hanging that at look diadem a grace to fellow looking sulky very is he king abbey whale this if but manner marvellous this in him for together put bean has crown green whose see they're going bowling see the of king diademed actually is monster mighty this how thinking in interest great take will you case which in it upon bestowed also crown term technical the by fixed bean has fancy your indeed unless you to occur to shore almost be will idea and such bonnet this on here nestle that crabs live those crabs live or live crabs live those watch you when rate any at I don't know why I bother trying to make sense of this, it doesn't make any sense. Crotch it's in nest birds are with oak huge some of trunk the forehead the take would you this on solely eyes you're fixing whale right the of bonnet the fishers southern the and crown the call Greenlanders the which thing barnacled green this mass the of top the on incrustation comb like crested strange this upon eye your fix you if again then sounding board it's in apertures there spiracles these and bass viol oh like a bass like a violin that a stringed instrument right bass viol enormous and for head hole the take would you spout holes f-shaped to these at look and summit it's on stand you if view of point you're to according aspects different assume to begins it head great this to nearer come you as but progeny her all and she lodged be comfortably very might brood swarming the with tail nursery the of woman old that shoe or last same this in and last shoemakers of that to shape its lichened voyager Dutch old and ago years 102 shoe galliot toed gigantic to resemblance in elegant rather bears head whales right the view broad at so rounded broadly so is it where front in especially war chariot Roman to compared be may head whale sperm noble the shape general in as head whales right the at look long good have now us let deck the crossing view contrasted head whales right the 75 chapter and there was another mention of sperm there so that puts us up to 8 for the evening. Well, the morning, if you're watching this in the morning. If you're watching this in the morning, go back to bed. That's just stupid. Save this. Save this for after tea. There we go. Speaking of which, speaking of tea, we had McDonald's today. Because, you know, it opens the drive-through. You can get McDonald's. I don't even like McDonald's particularly, but it was a treat for the kids, and my wife quite enjoys McDonald's. So we got McDonald's takeaway and brought it home and had it in the kitchen, you know, like a real takeaway. It was a Big Mac meal because in lockdown, to protect the staff and whatever supply chain, you can't get the fancy burgers. You can only get the basics, the basic range. You know, the economy range of burgers, and you can't get milkshakes either. So basically, even though I don't like McDonald's, you couldn't even get what I wanted from McDonald's. You could only get a Big Mac meal with Diet Pop, which was fine, you know. What I will say is if you go to Subway instead, you can get a sandwich that tastes exactly the same as a Big Mac for cheaper, and it's bigger. You need to get the steak one, the shaved steak one, and you need to get that Southwestern, whatever it is, sauce, Southwestern spicy sauce. That stuff is exactly the same, as far as I can tell, as Big Mac sauce. So if you get one of those with that on, with some gherkins on and lettuce and stuff, it's just like a Big Mac, except it's like a foot long instead of about 8 centimeters across. A Big Mac, isn't it? Big Macs aren't big at all. They're like tiny Macs. If I was Mac, I'd be going, you know, we need to back up this claim that they're big, because, you know, let's face it, right? They're tiny. Really, I'm more of a Burger King sort of a guy. The thing is, Burger King, right? The burgers are bigger, for a start. The range is better, secondly, but also they actually taste of burgers. Unlike McDonald's, I don't know what McDonald's tastes like. McDonald's tastes like a steak sandwich from Subway, but are only this big instead of they're that big instead of this big as your head. Or just make your own sandwich. I'm sure you could do better than either of those things. Houses building for joists like a way pile. Anyway, it felt like a sort of return to normality a little bit. You know, with things opening up, we decided to treat ourselves to something that is only very tangentially related to treats. Houses building for joists like a way piled and slabs into sawn afterwards is jawther. Fashion artificial our after filled nor undecayed but down worn much Wales old in. All in teeth 42 generally are there. Lands wood. Right, so now we've got a chapter discussing every tooth individually. Herman. Lands wood wild of out oaks old of stumps drag oxen Michigan as. Teeth these out drag they, aloft from rigged being tackle at hand. Ring bolts to down lashed is jaw there then. Gums the lances queequeg. Cutting spade keen with. Teeth drawing to set are, dentists accomplished all being, Tashtego and Dagu Queequeg. Work other the after days few some, comes time proper the when and. Anchor an were it if as, board on dragged is jaw the hoist weary, long with. Riding whips to handles and umbrella stocks, canes including, articles curious of sorts all fashion fishermen, the which with whalebone white hard that of supply a furnishing and teeth ivory the extracting of purpose the for deck on hoisted and disengaged is artist practised by unhinged easily being jaw lower this case is most in. Ever heard of a full stop, Herman? Him upon lockjaws imprecate, doubt no, must who, tribe his all to reproach plight of sort ungainly that in their him leaving, relaxed have jaw his of hinges the that, supine so and, hypochondriac perhaps sorts of out, dispirited only is he, dead not his whale this. Jib boom ships a like world that all four. Body his with right angles at down straight hanging, long feet 15 some, jaw prodigious his with, suspended. Come on, whales haven't got long feet. They've got no feet. Prodigious his with, suspended there floating, whale sulky some see you. See that in down fathoms when, behold too, it is terrible more far but. Force impaling with fall spikes these whom upon, fishery that in white pour, many to proves it. Alas, such and portcullis terrifica seems it. Teeth of rose its expose and overhead it get to as so. Up it pry you if side one of instead, end one at hinge the width, snuff box immense and of lid narrow long the like seems which. Jaw lower portentous. I thought it said pretentious for a second. Jaw lower portentous this at look and now outcome but. Satin's bridle as glossy, membrane white glistening with papered rather or, lined, ceiling to floor from. Mouth chaste looking and beautiful really, a what? Are we where us about look and? Oh, that's not even a question. Are we where us about look and? Tooth this by here on hold us let but. Stomach his of cave mammoth Kentucky, great that into descend might we lanterna with. It from separated completely now is body the that not it were and. Mouth the down peep a have. Summit the to ladder a by ascending then. Up bottom lie may it that. Head whale sperm the over can't, I don't want to forget. The over can't even. Not can't. Hand that have we engines steam engines. And levers whatever with now us let. And I will record the sperm. One more. Wonder what this is like, the Kentucky Mammoth Cave. Is it a cave that's very large, or is it a cave that was dug by mammoths? We'll never know. I mean, there's a way of finding out, but I'm not interested, so I'm not going to find out. We'll never know. Maybe you can find out. Leave a comment on this YouTube video. Not on Twitch, because I mean you can't do it now. I won't read it. But you can leave it on YouTube later, so I can not read it there either. But somebody might be interested in the Kentucky Mammoth Cave. Sounds like a roadside attraction to me. I went to a cave in New York State somewhere on my honeymoon. My wife was there. We went down a cave off in the middle of nowhere. We were the only people there, apart from the guy showing us around the cave. He was delighted to see us. He took us around the whole thing. We got a private tour, just us. Just because there was no one there. It was really impressive. Big cave, underwater, underground waterfall rather, not an underwater waterfall. Underwater waterfall is just, I don't know, some water, just a current. There was an underground waterfall and some lights and a cave, and they turned the lights off at one point, and it was dark. It was really dark because there wasn't any light. And then they put the lights back on, and it wasn't as dark. And then you could see again, which was better because you couldn't see with the lights off. And then we got out of the cave, and he stood there, and we thanked him and left. And then we realised the reason he was stood there looking anxious or whatever was because he was expecting a tip, wasn't he? You know, they all do tipping in America. We didn't quite get it. We thought he was just being a bit weird and over-friendly and hanging around with us at the end, so we just drove off. So sorry if you're watching this, man from the New York State cave, wherever it was. It was a very impressive cave. All I can do for you really is recommend that people go there. Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was called or where it was, apart from that it was in New York State. But, you know, you just drive around New York State, you'll find it. There's plenty of signs for it. It's maybe not as big as the Kentucky Mammoth Cave, nor was it dug by mammoths. It was a naturally occurring cave. But I highly recommend it. Go to America. I almost said go to America. If you're already in America and you can't leave, then maybe you can pass the time by going to either the Kentucky Mammoth Cave, or alternatively, if you're not in Kentucky, you know, if the New York one is nearer, then go to that one. But they're the two caves in America. It subtilize. It subtilize. Mind your enlarged, try you do when why, do then why, even. All at naught. Hearing of sharper ore, sight of longer, any him make that would. Cathedrals of porches, the as capacious ears his hand. Telescope great Herschels of lens the as broad were eyes his if but. Here's a smaller, here's a, what? Oh, hairs. Hairs are then smaller is which ear and through thunder the here and. Aye, and small so through world the sea should wail. The as being a vast so that. Curious not it is. Why talk about it if it's not curious? Without from him, if you just stuck to the things that were curious, then this book would be a lot shorter and probably more interesting for it. Without from imperceptible quite be to as so, membrane with over covered evenly and entirely is latter the of that, opening external and has former the of ear the while. Right the and whale sperm, the between observed be to is difference important, this ears there to respect with. I the behind little a, lodged is it. It is minute, wondrously so. Quill a insert hardly can you itself hold the into and. Whatever, leaf external no has either. Organ that discover never and. Hours for heads to these over hunt might you. Race there to stranger entire and are you if. I the as curious as full is whale the of ear the but. And there you go, that was another sperm that we just came across. The pen seems to be working fine. The pen's holding out, no problem at all. Maybe I don't need to buy a new pen. Or maybe it was the beginning of the end for the pen and I should stock up ahead of time. Because we are only... I would estimate that we're 2/5 of the way through the sperm count. Which is actually, by now, it's becoming a more accurate representation of how far through the book we are, in terms of word count at least. 2/5 away. Yeah, maybe I'll need a pen and a half. Another pen and a half. Yeah, I'll order a pen and a half. Where was I? Them involve must vision of powers opposite diametrically and divided there which in volition of perplexity helpless the from proceeds indirectly this all that think I. Whales such to common so. Frights queer, liability and timidity there. Boats 4 or 3 by beset when whales, some by displayed movement of vacillations extraordinary there that. Me to seemed always has it but, whim idle and but be may it. Comparison this in incongruity any there is, investigated strictly, nor. Euclid in problems distinct two of demonstrations the through go to simultaneously able were man if as. Him in thing a marvellous as it is then, can he if? Direction opposite exactly, and in other the and, him of side one-on-one, prospects distinct to examine attentively, time of moments same, the at can he that? Man's than subtle and, combining comprehensive more much so brain his is but. Act simultaneously must themselves in eyes his both true. Whale the with, then it is how? Consciousness contemporary, your from excluded utterly be will other the. It on bear to mind your bring to as manner as such in. Struggling a bit there. Them of one sea to order in then. Darkness profound of circle by each surround and. Objects to these separate to become now you if but. Other each touch and side by side lie they if mind never. Time of instant same there and one at. Small however or large however. Things to any examine too. Completely and attentively. Him for impossible quite is it. Glance one at things of sweep undiscriminating and intake can he through that him teach will experience one's and nevertheless. Him before our objects whatever seeing mechanically help then cannot he is that involuntary is seeing a fact the Light that in open our eyes, man's are as long so. Hint our with content, not content, with content. This internet age, where everything has to be content, including my own contribution to the internet, of course. Without gold standard content like this, the internet would collapse. Hint our with content, be must I but. Leviathan the touching as matter visual this concerning started, we might question puzzling most and curious Scenes subsequent some in reader the by remembered be to and fishery that in mind inborn be to always thing at his eyes whales the of peculiarity this view the impairing sadly but windows distinct to making inserted separately are sashes to these whale the with but window his for sashes joined to with sentry box from world the on outlook to said be effect in may man him to nothingness and darkness profound be must between all while side that on picture distinct. You can probably tell I was going to say white there and change my mind at the second because it says while. While, yes, just shows the speed of thought required, the agility of mind. Side that on picture distinct another and side this on picture distinct one see must therefore whale the imparts organ independent each which impressions the separate wholly must course of this valleys in lakes two separating mountain great are like them between towers which heads solid of feet cubic many are by they as divided effectually eyes whales the of position peculiar the brain the two not and picture one produce to as so power visual there blend to imperceptibly as planted so are eyes the of think now can I that animals other most in while moreover eyes his butt just checking out that butt eyes his butt indeed what man out front the makes that it is what for front side fronts too also time same that at but speak to so backs to have would you word at in behind from you upon stealing were he if than more any him see to able be not would you you know what I think right with this the two backs that we've got here and the feet that he discussed earlier I'm beginning to think what he's describing isn't a whale but a man riding a whale. I think that's where the confusion is arising. I think Herman has seen a photograph. Well, not a photograph. Would he have had a photograph in 1851? No, he wouldn't, would he? Would he? Maybe. But the thing is, taking a photograph of a whale in 1851 would probably have been quite challenging because how do you get the whale to sit still for long enough to get a decent exposure? They didn't have, ISO numbers in the thousands now, these modern cameras. So you can take really fast exposures, short exposures to get all that action, get an accurate representation of the whale. If you try and take a picture of a whale with a camera from 1851, I bet you just get like a smeared, mess. That's probably why. So he would have had, maybe descriptions of whales from some of his friends. He did go to sea briefly, and then he jumped ship and went back on land and hid. I think I didn't get all the way through the Wikipedia article. It was really tedious. It was almost as boring as one of his books. I was pleased to see that the books weren't weren't critically well received, or indeed critically, by his wife Lizzie. So I'm assuming that he only had a description of a whale to go on, or maybe a poorly drawn whale, or maybe a cake. Maybe what he had was actually someone baked him a cake in the shape of a whale, and actually, what he was hoping was to get that, but actually what he got was that. And so he didn't really know. He didn't. Yeah. So he just didn't have a good idea of what whales actually look like. And the picture that he had of a whale, someone had drawn a kind of stick man riding the whale, a little representation of someone riding a whale, a bit like a sandworm from Dune. But given that he lacked the imagination to write a great work of fiction like Dune, instead he wrote 135 chapters merely describing the picture of the whale that he'd been given by someone. And thus we face this nonsense, this description of a two-backed whale with feet and a brain in its neck. Because he's just making any old shit up at this point. He doesn't know. I bet the publisher said, I want 300 pages. And he said, shit, I've got like about 30 pages, and some of that is already just, a description of a whale. But at that stage, really all he'd written was, whales are grey and big. They go in the sea. Whales live in the sea. They are big and grey and scary. And they said, did your son write this? And he said, no, this was all my work, all my own work. And they said, well, can you pad it out to 300 pages? And he said, I'll see what I can do. And that's what we face. Eyes, his, but indeed what? Matt, did I read this already? I did, the side fronts and two fronts and stuff. I think I got through this, did I? I've actually completely lost my place. I hadn't read about bitterest foe, had I? A dagger. No, I'd recognise the dagger and the bitterest foe. So I'm going to go from here. The side fronts and two fronts. Speak to sow. Backs. Yeah, backs to have would you. Word at in. The danger in forgetting where I was up to is I'd have to start the entire thing again. Word at in. Behind from you upon stealing were he if than more any. Him see to able be not would you. Day broad in uplifted dagger with you towards straight walking were foe bitterest your if. It behind more 30 about and sight of sidelines straight the of advance in vision of degrees 30 some command only could you that find would you. Ears your through objects survey sideways you did. You with fair would it how. Yourself for fancy may you and. Ears man's of that to corresponds eyes whales the of position the word at in. Astern exactly one can he then more know. Ahead exactly is which object and see never can he that plain is it. Eyes whales the of position sideway peculiar this from now. Head the of magnitude the to it is proportion all of out so. I colts young be to fancy would you which I lashless see last at will you search narrowly you if jaw whales either of angle the near down low and head the of side the on back far ear the and either organs important most to the namely heads these in dissimilar least is what note now us let. Whale grey-headed, a call technically fisherman, the what is he short in. Experience large and age advanced of token giving. Summit the at head his of colour salt and pepper, the by heightened is dignity this, to instance present the in. Dignity pervading of point in, him to superiority immense the yield involuntarily you, it behold you as. Head whale sperm, the in character more is there, lacks sadly whales right, the which whale sperm the in symmetry mathematical certain is there but. I'm going to draw these two sperms now before I forget. There you go. Consciousness, all in enough massive are both. Heads these between contrast general the by struck are you, place first the in. Here than cytology practical study that a chance better at obtain you will. No to like should I, where deck the across stepping merely by, other the to one from go freely may we as and side pequods the from hanging moment, this is each of head as and. Heads therein observable mainly is then between difference external the as. Whale the of varieties known that all of extremes too the present they, Nantucket are the two. Man by hunted regularly, whales only that are they. Noteworthy most the far by our whale right the, and whale sperm the. Leviathan's folio of order grand the of. We have one more to draw. Own our together lay and them join us let together heads their laying whales great to our now here. View contrasted. Head whales sperm the 74 chapter. Well, yeah, I wasn't expecting a sperm in the title of the chapter there, so that's another one and one for the title. That's 14 sperms. 14 sperms for tonight, and we've still got a quarter of an hour left, although I tend to stop way before the end because I'm a lazy sod and I can't be bothered. Let's see how long this next chapter is. Too long to hit in one go from now, a quarter of an hour. Unless I really go at it. Should I really go at it? What do you think? Can we do this chapter? Quarter of an hour? We haven't even got a quarter of an hour, really. We've got 10 minutes, I would say. Ooh. Let's go. Things passing these all concerning them among bandied were speculations Laplandish. On toiled crew that as Ahab's lengthen and with blend to only seemed it all at there was shadow parsees the if while shadow his occupied parsee the that stand to so chanced Ahab and hand own his in lines the two their wrinkles deep the from glancing anon and ever and head whales right the eyeing calmly was Fidela meantime. Panniers overburdening of pair a carrying mule a resembled little and not ship head laden the and a stern dropped had whales both of carcasses the done been had case present the in this like nothing but crown piece the called is what to attached bone black known well they all with deck on hoisted and removed separately are tongue the and lips the former the in but whole off cut is head the instance latter the in only whale sperm out of case the in as place take commonly proceedings preliminary same the ship the alongside brought when whale right out of body the of disposing in one more sperm right and light float will you then and overboard thunderheads these all throw foolish ye oh boat trimming keep ever for mind some thus plight poor very in but again back come you and cants in hoist careful side other the on now but way that over go you head locks in hoist you side one on when so believe well may you strain sorely though keel even her regain she heads both of counterpoise the by now head whale sperm the towards overlean steeply pequod the before as true proved saying flasks time good in one more sperm doing well Harmacetes that opposite up hoisted whale hoisted head whales right this sea soon you'll yes Flask said so you tell I didn't him securing for prepared already were necessaries other and chains fluke where side larboard the on whale the tow to hailed here were boats the dialogue's really hard to read fast because it's such nonsense. Ship the at as opposed to the rest of it, which makes perfect sense. Ship the at are we here, mean not or mean. Stub along all saying been have and, say you what mean you do now. Else what? Home get we when whip ox and for it sell, it with do? Stub tail the with do you will what and? Legs his between tail his feeling of satisfaction pour the without off sneak heel fashion queer that in docked himself finds he when guess rather I then and see you do stump the at off short come will tail his that heaving and wrenching as such him give and capstan the to it take, tail his for pocket his into grab a make I'll lord the buy, fuss any makes he if and. It do don't you, Beelzebub, here look. Say and, neck his of nape the by him take just I'll. Ongoing suspicious very anything, see I if and. Him on lookout sharp, I keep to now going am I but. Flask, long before it know you'll. It suppose I do. Ahab captain, kidnapped to once Fidela, suppose you do. Governor are theirs. Him for roast heed, kidnap devil the people the all that. Him with bond assigned and I. People kidnapping about go him let's but deserves he as double derbies in him put and him catch daresn't who governor old the accept him of afraid whose devil the of afraid I'm suppose you so. Flask devil the dam much so sneaks he where decks upon the on decks upper the on hereabouts and lives he where there all up the in down alone let, while along aft for again cabin admirals the in face his show to dare wouldn't he that eyes black of pair as such him give eyed. It try him see to like should I. Then what? You drown and yes. Though you duck to head his into it take should he suppose. Him ducking keep and him again duck again him duck. Back crawl he'd but anyhow ducking good a him give. Oh, it's really fast to do this quickly. I'm going to run out of time, aren't I? That me tell, overboard him pitch to do it will good what ever for live to going is he if and to come yours of hoops those all of old so he's if now. Chance good I got you if see toss a Fidela give to meant you that now just boasted little a you thought I stub here see but enough oughts make to enough hoops show couldn't creation in Coopers the all nor age Fidelas be to begin wouldn't that well see you do oughts for mast that with row in a long string and hold pequods that in hoops the all take now one figure that's well ship the two pointing their mainmast that see you do. Stub is Fidela suppose you do old how. Flask mister that me tell porthole into crawl can he suppose you don't cabin admirals that into get to latch key has devil the if and devil the for morning wearing a parson what devil the for morning wearing a parson any see ever you did dead was devil the that heard ever who ever for live devil the doesn't whale this kill helped that man same the I am. Pequod the board on now is say you same the was now just of speaking was you devil that suppose you do stub me tell now but though it of heard book as such saw never no. Did ye guess I? Flask there it read ye did. Soldados bloody minded 3 those of adventures Spaniards 3. Where remember can't I but ship the towards burden there with advancing slowly were boats 2 the last at when Flask said telling were you as story such some remember I think I. Oh, this is going on for way too long. No, I'm going to leave it. I've had enough. I'm going to leave it there. Just as we are about to be treated to, or have been treated, I guess, a story of 2 boats. Which is it's twice as exciting as a story of 1 boat, which this entire thing is. Is that enough? I think that's enough. I'm going to do something different for a bit because it's 5 to 11 live. I mean, it's not 5 to 11 where you are in internet world. If you're watching this later. But I'll just take the time to say once more. Well, first of all, a good sperm count there. 16. Almost equaled the record. I did a tally in the end. 16 sperms, one short of equaling the record, but pretty good progress. I'm happy with that. And yeah, not bad. Not a bad bit of unreading there. I feel like I'm stupider than when I started, and I hope you do too. So yeah, just remains to say, don't forget, whatever you do, don't forget about the Black Lives Matter Games bundle. Go to itch.io. Search for Racial Justice and Equality, I think it was called. Let me check what it was called, then I can tell you for sure what it was called, and I'm not making a mistake. Yes, it is called the Bundle for Racial Justice and Equality. And I will even tell you where the money goes. So far, it's doing really well. So far, it has raised over $3 million from 274,000 contributors. The maximum contribution has been $5,000, which is fucking crazy because the minimum contribution is $5, not $5,000. You can just pay $5, but please pay more if you can. The proceeds go to the NAACP Legal Defence and Educational Fund and the Community Bail Fund, split 50-50. And there's some information on the bundle page about any other places you could give to support the cause of Black Lives Matter. And so, you know, this is the least we can do as creators, to contribute our products, our time, our efforts to do this. I'll scroll down the page here a little bit and I'll read out some names of games that you may have heard of. Overland, Night in the Woods, A Short Hike, Celeste, Moo Cartographer, Minute is in there. Let's see what else might you have heard of. As I said before, Super Hexagon is in there. I mean, there's some nonsense. Nuclear Throne is in there. That's good. It's not all games. There's some books, some indie role-playing game ebooks in there. There's some, if you fancy making games yourself, or if you already do, then there are some asset packs in there. The Kenny asset pack, and I'm looking at one there. The 8-bit top-down asset pack. Sort of tile set assets there if you wanted to try making a game yourself. What else is in here? My game is called Thrunt. It is not the sequel, which I'm currently working on. It's the original and reasonably fun, not too painful original Thrunt. Station Architect, made by my good friend Al Wyvern, which is a procedural generator for role-playing game sci-fi dungeons. I guess you could use it for normal dungeons, but it's kind of a sci-fi space station creator tool. There's a few things like that in the set. Oh, Metamorphobet's in the set. That's excellent. If you've got kids, that's a great alphabet game where you sort of it's one of these where it's sort of you guess the names of things. I streamed it myself. Playing it for like half an hour. It's a beautiful thing. Lots of lovely little animations to do with the words for each letter. Switch and Shoot is in there. That's good. Yeah, there's Super Hexagon, Hunter's Moon remastered, Vector 2089. Lots of things. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of these. There's literally 1,000 products in this for $5. You would be ridiculously remiss in not buying this. It'd be the biggest mistake you've ever made in your life would be not buying this, even if you only play 5% of these games and completely disregard the rest. You would be doing a good thing for the world and getting yourself an endless stream of mixed quality entertainment, let's put it that way, some of which is excellent, some of which is you will skip past. Yeah, so go there. Bundle for Racial Justice and Equality on itch.io. I'll on the YouTube video I'll put a link below as well, because it's well worth your attention. as for this wasn't worth your attention, was it? No, it wasn't worth my attention. I can't believe I've been doing this for 24 hours of my life. I think in doing so, though, it has shortened my life by at least a week. And hopefully yours too. Certainly your mental state will have been compromised, as has mine. But join me next time for more reverse reading nonsense. I do this Tuesdays and Fridays. Today being Tuesday, that would make the next one Friday. It's substantially the same, except I'm more likely to have booze. So join me then. Loads of fun. Bye.